This is the Explorer project in the HANA Academy. We are loading data from MySQL to HANA with data services. We have already established a connection between data services and MySQL. We have established a connection between data services and HANA, and we've created a simple job. What we'll do here is create a transform to manipulate the data before we load it into HANA. Let's take a look with Bob.
So in this example, I've already loaded my data in one job. I've loaded 4 tables in one single job from MySQL to HANA. It's a direct load, so I take I extract from the source and I load to the target. But sometimes you might want to do what's called a transformation. So I'm going to show you how you can do a transformation on the product table. So we do this by adding one of the most basic transforms, a query transform. We can access it from the right hand side or alongside the more complex transforms to do with text processing. We can merge data, we can do quality checks on the data. We add it on the transform tab, and within data integrator I have, if I scroll down in the platform folder, I have the query transform. So I'm just going to add that between dim product in MySQL and in HANA. So to do this, I'm going to delete the join between the 2 tables and actually go through the query transform instead. Then I'll double click on the query. So the first thing I can do is I can say, well, I don't need all the rows. I only need a certain amount of rows, or sorry, all the columns or all rows. I'm going to select all the columns from the source table and load them to the target table. But again, here you can discriminate and say I only want the first 5 columns. Now what we want to do is the following. If I go back to the data flow and look at the target table, you can see on the right hand side that the capacity and screen size both have null as a value. Now normally when we're doing analysis on data, we don't like to see null as a value in our BI side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace any null value in the capacity or screen size column with the word none. So to do this, we go into our query and we select the columns that we want to make this change to. So it's going to be one of them we're going to do first is the capacity column. There are many ways which you can use the function. I'm going to show you one way using the functions wizard. So let's go and delete this column. And I'm going to add and select the functions wizard. Here are all the functions that you can use to do some simple transformations. We're going to go down to our miscellaneous functions and choose the NVL function. The NVL simply replaces any null with a specific value. So then I can click on next. We then need to choose the input expression. So I'm going to choose from our table, it's going to be the capacity column. And then in single quotes, we need to decide what we want to output. So I'm going to write the word none and click on finish. Because I've added a form of transform on the actual column, I now see 2 blue arrows instead of 1. This means that this column has been transformed in some way. Now, another way you can apply it is to actually just type out the command if you know it. So if I type NVL, I'll be prompted with the function and it's telling me what I need to include in that function. So I'm going to include obviously the column name. So I type DIM for the table. It will show me the table and I just need to go and select from here screen size. I would then add a comma and then in single quotes I would add the word none. Now if I was to validate this, I'm going to get an error. I get the error because I've forgotten to add a close bracket at the end of the string. So this is indicated in the validate screen it shows me where the error is, and I also get the red cross in the column name. So the only thing I need to do now is finish off this statement with a close bracket, validate again, no errors have been found, and then again save the job, re-execute the job by selecting execute on the job. All the 4 tables are reprocessed. Because it's a template table, the table is dropped and recreated, so we don't have to worry about duplicate rows. And now if I go back to the actual table, we can see we've got that same magnifying glass. But if I select the magnifying glass and go to the right hand side, we can see now any instance or any null value has been replaced with the word none. So that's a simple example how we can use a transform within SAP Business Objects Data Services.